Hello, friends. In honor of Earth Day this week, I'd like to read some books about the environment and how you can help. In honor of the story today, I'm also wearing my Skip a Straw, Save a Turtle shirt. And so hopefully you're thinking about what you can do to help the Earth. The book I'm going to read today is called Not For Me, Please, I Choose to Act Green. Written by Maria Godsey and illustrated by Christoph J. Kellner. There once was a day when I didn't act green, a time when I thought things would always stay clean. I didn't think twice of the choices I made, the impact they had, or the damage that stayed. My actions were based on the ease brought to me, with never much thought to our air, land, or sea. So this is the book from which I'm reading. And it says, down below, there's some extra information. It says it can be difficult to understand the effect of our actions on the environment, especially when we don't see the damage or long-term effects caused. We easily get trapped in our daily routine and habits without reflecting on the cost it has on our environment. However, with awareness of the effect of our behavior on our environment and planet, this can change. Understanding the interconnectedness and adjusting our way of living in a way that is friendly to our environment and sustainable for our planet means to think and act green. So this is the boy at the beginning of the story. But my thoughts around this changed in a flash when I noticed the damage caused by our trash. The sight of it caused a reaction in me, and all I could say was, "Not for me, please." Over 260 million tons of waste are generated every year in the United States. Globally, over 220 million tons of plastic are produced each year. All of this waste adds up and pollutes our environment, even if we don't see it all the time. Did you know that every piece of plastic ever created still exists today, with the exemption of plastic that has been incinerated, which means burned? Our use of plastic has gotten so out of control that it is estimated there will be more plastic by weight in our oceans than fish by 2050. I could not continue to live as I did. Surely I could help out because I'm a strong kid. You too can help out with this phrase that I found. Just say, "Not for me, please," and stand your own ground. It may take some practice, but I'll show you how and why it's important for us to act now. From there, I decided that I will take action, and protecting our planet became my new passion. Each day, more than 500 million plastic straws are used and discarded in the United States alone. That's a lot of straws for just one country. This all creates waste that ends up in landfills and oceans just for the convenience of having a straw. Marine debris is human-created waste that was deliberately or accidentally then released in lake, sea, ocean, or waterway. In 2006, the United Nations Environment Program estimated that there are 46,000 pieces of floating plastic in every square mile of our ocean. Let's look at a straw that comes with a shake. Now imagine the trip this straw will soon take. Most often our straws are made out of plastic, and after one use, they're thrown in a basket. From the basket, they head to the dump or the sea and become something known as marine debris. Our oceans are filled with all sorts of stuff that hurt our sea creatures and make their lives rough. Poor turtles and fish mistake trash for their meal. Imagine the pain that their tummies must feel. Or worse, they get tangled in our careless muck. Around fins, heads, and legs, they're nothing but stuck. Did you know about 1 truckload of trash is thrown into our waters every minute? This trash is captured by ocean currents and collects within ocean gyres or vortexes. Some gyres have become so full of trash that they've been nicknamed garbage patches. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is now 3 times the size of France. The trash thrown in our ocean doesn't just float on its surface. After sunlight photodegrades, which means the sun breaks it down, the floating pieces of plastic into small pieces, aquatic life and seabirds mistake these fragments, microplastics, for food and ingest them. Unfortunately, our sea life and birds are not the only ones ingesting plastic. When we eat fish that have eaten plastic, this too goes into our body. Additionally, plastic has frequently been found in many brands of bottled water. Did you know that 93% of Americans aged 6 or older test positive for BPA, a plastic chemical? Also, some of the compounds found in plastic have been found to alter hormones or have other potential human health effects. This one little straw is not worth the high cost. Why use things that harm or cause a great loss? Here's what I'd say, not for me, please, when asked. I don't need a straw that will simply be trashed. We all have a choice. Let's do our small part to refuse to cause harm and decide to act smart. Many of you have already done that. You're using reusable straws or metal straws. Some of you have ordered them from me. So hopefully you'll continue to think that way. Just think through your actions and the cause and effect of waste and pollution and careless neglect. Let's choose to recycle, reduce, and reuse. And with my strong phrase, there's no way we lose. Here are some examples to show what I mean and how you can join me and begin to act green. Reduce, reuse, and recycle, also known as the 3 R's, are the main ways to practice environmentally responsible consumer behavior. When we aim to reduce the amount of waste we produce, the consumption of new resources, reuse as many items as possible before replacing them, and recycle, we take action to protect our environment and act green. You see all this trash scattered around. Why would anyone throw their stuff on the ground? Not for me, please, is what I choose to say, and pick up the litter to throw it away. I choose to be mindful and sort through my trash, recycling things like plastic or glass. These can be turned into something brand new, like clothing, park benches, or even a shoe. Recycling is the process of converting waste into new reusable materials and objects. When we recycle, we reduce the need to consume Earth's natural resources through mining and forestry. Recycling helps ensure sustainable use of our limited resources. There are many things that can be recycled: metal, plastic, glass, aluminum, and paper. It's important to be conscious that the items we buy are materials that can be recycled and not just end up in a landfill. Contact your local recycling center to find out what can be recycled in your area. Look at these lights that someone left on in the room that is empty with everyone gone. The same for computers, games, and TVs. Why keep these things on for no one to see? Not for me, please. I choose what I need and power things off whenever I leave. I know that it's easy for one to forget, but do it enough and a habit you'll set. When you consume less power and energy, you decrease the demand and therefore emissions from power plants. To generate electricity, most power plants burn coal, crude oil, or other fossil fuels. This method of creating energy is relatively inexpensive, but causes significant air pollution and contributes to climate change. If we all turn off 2 lights in our home for an hour every day, we could save more than 5 million kilowatt hours of electricity nationwide each year. The amount of coal it takes to produce that much electricity could fill up the Empire State Building almost 3 times. Do you see this faucet and the water that flows? How much has been wasted? It's so hard to know. Just running the water when it's not in use is careless and wasteful. There's just no excuse. Not for me, please. I avoid wasteful drips while brushing or cleaning my small fingertips. We're lucky to have clean water to drink, not the kind that is harmful, dirty, or stinks. According to water.org, less than 1% of the water on Earth is readily available for human use. You might remember that from the guest speaker that we had that came. Salt can be removed from the seawater, but this process is expensive. Water conservation is a sustainable way to make the most of the fresh water that we do have. Did you know a 5-minute shower uses more water than a person in a developing country uses in a day? Sadly, 1 in 9 people worldwide do not have access to safe and clean drinking water. This lack of clean water kills children at a rate equivalent to a jet crashing every 4 hours. That's pretty shocking, isn't it? Do you bring food to school that's packed at your home? After your lunch, how much trash has been thrown? From plastic baggies to small boxes of juice, it's scary the trash just one meal can produce. Not for me, please. I watch what I bring, use food containers, and avoid plastic things. I bring my own bottle, I wash and reuse. No need to contribute to plastic abuse. It has been estimated that on average, a school-aged child using a disposable lunch daily generates 67 pounds of waste per school year. That equates to 18,760 pounds of lunch waste for just one average-sized elementary school. Just by changing when and how you pack your lunch can drastically reduce waste. And a lot of you are already doing that with reusable lunch boxes and containers. On average, Americans use about 50 billion water bottles every year, and only 23% of these plastic water bottles are recycled. Just in the United States, 1.5 million barrels of oil are used annually in the production of plastic bottles. If that oil was not used to make these bottles, it could fuel 100,000 cars for a whole year. So again, a lot of you are doing something about that with reusable water containers. Even while shopping, I see so much waste. Plastic grocery bags found all over the place. And why are there so many things plastic wrapped? Most of this plastic will only be scrapped. Not for me, please. I've had enough. I use my cloth bags when I pack up my stuff. I also take care of what goes in my cart. Choosing less packaging and plastic is smart. And I know it's harder to do this with the virus because they don't want you to bring your own bags to the grocery, but when there's normal times, we can do that. Every year, Americans throw away over 140 billion food and drink containers and bottles. That's 140 billion. More than 30% of our waste is simply packaging material alone. Plastic bags are created using fossil fuels and required vast amounts of water and energy to manufacture and ship. Plastic bags are used on average for 12 minutes. But remain in landfills, oceans, and other places for thousands of years. Have you been on a picnic when the sky was bright blue? Do you remember the cups, plates, and forks that you used? They were probably plastic and used only once, but decomposing takes years, not just a few months. Not for me, please. I'll join the ban against single-use plastic because I'm not a fan. All that I need can come from my house. Let's avoid needless buys and reuse what we own. So even during COVID-19, you can take a picnic with reusable supplies. About 50% of plastic we use only once and throw it away. There are several kinds of plastic and each degrades at a different rate. The average time for a plastic bottle to completely degrade is at least 450 years. It can even take some bottles 1,000 years to biodegrade. Single-use plastics are plastic materials that are disposable and generally used only once before they are thrown away or recycled. Plastic water bottles and plastic bags are the most common single-use plastics. Did you know that France passed a law which will go into effect in 2020, banning plastic plates, cups, and utensils? Go France. Our world is connected with resources shared. We all must pitch in and give nature our care. Let's pass on these things that don't make much sense or benefit us at our planet's expense. The options are endless if you make the right choice. Think the 3 R's and use your strong voice. Almost finished. So how will you choose next time when you're out? Will you think differently and take a new route? You are free to borrow my little phrase and say, "Not for me, please," in all of your days. I hope you enjoyed this book today, and I hope as Earth Day approaches that you will be saying, "Not for me, please," and do your part to help the planet.